Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason. I am here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. Yes, that hair is different. Uh, just felt like it. So there you go. Still long enough to be psychic, but different nonetheless. A little cooler outside with not that much hair. So let's jump right into the Star Report. As usual, we start with the sun, and the sun has awakened, woke up. It is now moving towards an uptick in solar activity that we were expecting at the end of October, beginning of November. And over the last couple of days, the sun has been doing all kinds of stuff. We just had last week the large coronal hole, which is the dark spots on the moon, move through. And that was a north all the way into the south. It was a really large one. And what we saw was an uptick in earthquakes on the planet during that time. It's faced away. The energy's already hit us and moved past. You might have felt a little bit of pressure or heaviness, which might have been combined with the lunar eclipse, a little bit intense. So that should be lifting for you, but none. The intensity or the intention or the activation that happened during the solar eclipses is still going to continue. But keeping up with the sun, we just had over the last day two eruptions, and one was a solar flare, right? So a little solar spot, a sunspot erupted. It was not Earth facing, but when those things happen, we sort of feel a spike in our energy, right? Sometimes it could cause a heart palpitation or an anxiety feeling in the upper chest. Pay attention to that. And then we had a plasma filament um, that erupted in our direction, but downward. So that plasma filament is not going to hit us either. Redirecting there I am back in focus. And so that's starting to mark the uptick in activity. And then coming in from the left to the right is how the satellite looks at the sun. So coming in to our direction is a coronal hole, which is on the south of the sun. So that should be high enough towards the sun's equator to be Earth directed when it turns that way. That should be here in the next day or two, maybe even three, depending on how fast that gets here. And so that's the sun, and it is active. So pay attention to that. Get out and get your sun if it's not too cold where you are, and let those early morning or late evening sun rays activate your higher consciousness. Which leads us into today, November 1st, Wednesday. What's happening in the rest of the stars and the solar system? We are still currently under 5 retrogrades. And those retrogrades obviously have been with us for several months. And currently we are under a Saturn retrograde. Saturn is about your career and being authentic in that, right? So this might be readjusting your role. If you're working in somebody else's company, this might be readjusting your company. If you are owning your own business, or if you're just looking to get back into the workforce or do something entirely different that sort of traces that authentic pathway, that's something you can do. And a lot of the things that keep us from doing that are not the desire or even the grand dream, but responsibility and habit is the hard part, and then the part that comes with that. When you start to do that for yourself and be authentic, then you are giving your true self to the world to see. And sometimes that might feel like you're opening yourself up to more judgment. So that's sometimes the fear that goes along with that retrograde. So pay attention to that, but also act on that. Keep moving, right? Small steps are fine. Continuous steps is how you change, right? So go ahead and do that. Neptune is currently in retrograde. Neptune is about knowing how that authentic self is related to what we call a spiritual path, right? That's not necessarily a religious path, it's a spiritual path. What is your soul's intent in being here on this planet, right? And then how does that sort of become congruent with your authentic self and your authentic career is what's going on. And then Chiron. Chiron is really about releasing old patterns, right? So as we continue to grow, some patterns need to go away. Some patterns we discover have been there a long time and have been inhibiting how fast we can change, how big we can grow. And so Chiron sort of helps us highlight those old patterns that we need to let go, limiting beliefs. And then a lot of those beliefs that Chiron helps us with is self-love, self-worth, right? Are we worth all of these grand ideas that we have? Are we some kind of worthy of this spiritual understanding we begin to have of ourselves, right? Sometimes it feels grandiose when we realize how large or how in charge our soul is and how our life's been going. So that's Chiron. Uranus um, is about trusting your abilities, right? So um you do have the skills and your skills are needed, right? And so if if they weren't meant to be shared with the world, then they wouldn't be coming up, right? And it just is, how do you share those with the world in an understandable, regimented way, right? So produce a habit, um decide how forward facing those are going to be. And then the last planet that's in retrograde currently is Jupiter. Jupiter is really about scheduling and planning and then acting, right? Jupiter is really large. And so it's about big stuff too, right? So don't think too small when you're doing all these changes, right? So a lot of times what we do is we think too small, and therefore our actions are smaller than what we really want. So we really need to have big understandings of what we want, and then when we start to act for it and do the natural thing of acting smaller than that, then we actually get towards our goals, right? So if you're trying to make $100,000, plan to make $500,000. If you're planning to grow a YouTube channel, um, you know, shoot higher, like, oh, I wish, 50 people would watch me, right? Say, I wish you was 5,000, maybe 500,000 would watch you. And then you'll start to produce and act like that. And then that energy will draw in what you're actually looking for. So those are the retrogrades happening. We are also in Scorpio. Scorpio, the solar sign of Scorpio, zodiac. And Scorpio is really about the base of the spine, right? So almost if the end of your spine was a scorpion stinger. So that's where you're going to feel a lot of the energy that's going on the planet right now. And then also in the sexual glands. So all of those things that sort of produce desire, effort, um, estrogen and testosterone, right? So those things sort of balance, both are in each body. So those things are going to sort of be triggered to sort of balance out and give you the effort that you need for that. And then I think that's all that's prequel that's happening here on Wednesday. And then everything is probably in disarray because of the end of the solar eclipse season, right? So we just had the lunar eclipse, full moon eclipse over the weekend. And now we're in that post shadow, right? Where all that stuff starts to shake out and cause you to need to act. And so there's a cosmic kite, planetary formations going, and that's going to be some uplifting energy. And it's really going to be encouraging energy when you might have had all these big ideas and understandings, and maybe it was a shit show for you, right? So a lot of people that have come in the shop have been like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, it really is just the eclipses. It's their intense this season. um and so yeah, that's really about acting and deciding and moving through, right? So that's the energy of today, Wednesday, the November the 1st, right? And so it is a 111 on the calendar, 11 1, right? So pay attention to that. Tomorrow, Thursday, is actually an 11 master day. And Thursday, 11 master days gives you that energy of being in charge of your life, right? So if all of these changes feel like that you have no control over them or they're too large, the energy of Thursday is really going to be the point where you go like, I actually can do this. I can be better. I can be more. I can do what I've been dreaming of doing. And so that energy is going to be really good to sort of take into Thursday. And it's really going to give you the energy to I don't even start over, but like reboot, right? If there needs to be a reset, a lot of times we don't do resets because we're comfortable. A lot of times we don't do resets because the effort seems overwhelming and there's a delay in gratification, whether that's if we do a big change, maybe we lose money, maybe we lose momentum in something that's steady. So that's always the hard part. But 11 Master Day on Thursday really gives you the energy to go, you know what? I've got enough energy to reboot. And sometimes that extra energy is going to help you start faster so that the delay in the upgrade is less, right? So it shortens the distance between leaving the old and doing the new. Friday, Jupiter is going to be the closest to Earth all year, right? So we just said Jupiter is in retrograde. And so Friday, sort of look for that to intensify, right? Friday, honoring your talents, right? What are you talented at? When's the last time you did a talent review of what you're good at? And so maybe Friday is a day to sort of make a list of things that you're good at, skills that you have, and really sort of understand that you have a lot more going for you than you think, and that it's not about developing something from outside yourself, but it's really something that's within yourself, some skills you already have. And when you sort of look at those skill sets, sometimes you can sort of see that the things that you like to do and that you're good at really are a good combination for the new thing that you want to do, when you thought the new thing you wanted to do is a knowledge based thing, right? Oh, I know how to do this job, but I don't know how to do that job. I know how to be this person, but I don't know how to be that person. You're going to see at the core, and Jupiter is going to help you on Friday to understand, like, really, I'm pretty badass. All right, you're pretty badass. So go ahead and do it. Saturday ends our Saturn retrograde, right? So a Saturday on Saturn's day, um, ending its retrograde, right? And just reminder of what Saturn was doing for us, right? Saturn is about realizing your personal efforts have paid off, right? So Saturday would be a good day to sort of look back, even pre-eclipse season, and sort of see what have you been working on. 2023 has been a weird freaking year, right? So like you might be further along than you think, like you're fatigued, right? This is almost like you're running a race, long distance, and you're tired out and you're like, I don't even know if I can go anymore. How much longer is in this race? And you look back and you're like, oh, I've got like maybe 5 minutes left in this race and I was fixing to quit. So pay attention to that stuff. On Saturday, um, divine patience, right? So just be patient, right? So can you put the effort in a little bit longer? And then really, Saturn is about mystical synchronicity, right? So cosmic synchronicity, right? You're going to see on Saturday that a lot of things you've been working on in your life in a lot of instances are going to be like making a whole lot more sense. It's going to be the universe, yourself, the effort all of a sudden has this divine timing where you thought you're behind. And Saturday with the retrograde ending, you're going to be like, fucking right on. I'm right on path. I'm right down the way I'm supposed to be, and you're going to feel really good about yourself. So that's some stuff that could be happening on Saturday. Also, the little bit doom and gloom. Not really. A little bit doom and gloom. Also, that's the peak of the Taurid meteor shower, right? So the meteor shower will be coming out of the star zodiac Taurus, right? So look for the constellation of Taurus and the meteors to be coming out of that. And a little bit of doom and gloom is the younger Dryas sort of impact stuff 12,000 years ago. Uh, Really, they think sort of coincided with a sort of eruption or hit by those meteors coming from the Taurid meteor shower. So Taurus. Yeah, so pay attention to that. Not that Saturday's, oh my god, we're gonna have an impact, so it's not gonna be deep impact or whatever the one Bruce Willis is. It's not that kind of thing to pay attention to, but it's just sort of pay attention to that these are really the heavy, hard ends of cycles. And so being post eclipse, you're going to have a lot of energy around that, which sort of lets up for the rest of the week. There's not much to really do. There's just a lot of when we start to understand those synchronicities on Saturday with Saturn going back direct, right? There's a tendency to sort of be pissed at yourself that you didn't see it, right? That you weren't noticing the synchronicity the entire time, right? And this is going to be really that effort where when you're in the game, you can't really see the results of the game. And on Saturday, you're going to sort of have that coach's view, and you're like, oh, I could have figured this out 10 plays ago. I could have, not struck out, blah, 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 blah. All those kinds of things are going to be the rest of the week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then they're also going to be the time to, once you sort of forgive yourself for not having acted in the past, go ahead and act on the stuff that you find out on Friday and Saturday. Sound cool? I think that's everything that's going on in the stars. Of course, I'm here at New Dimensions Crystals in downtown Brenham, Texas. You can book online for a number of sessions if you're having a hard time adjusting with that, or if you're just looking to expand. A lot of times these energy sessions are not just something you receive, but a chance to talk over what's been going on, and then an energetic um, diagnosis, as it were, of, hey, here's, maybe it's a coaching session, would be better to say it, like, hey, we noticed these things that were happening, you realized they were happening, and here's what would be a good combination to do afterwards. So those kinds of conversations happen after a session. And then of course the easiest thing is to regulate your breath, because that is what's keeping your level of consciousness, almost like you're a submarine. How you breathe manages the depth of your vision and how you're sort of seeing the world, right? So I do one-on-one breathwork sessions here, and you can sign up for those, because if you don't breathe, you can't live. And so why not control the breathing and live in the echelon, in the level of consciousness and the openness of the life that you want? All of those things you can find at newdimensionscrystals.com. I'm Jason here in Brenham, Texas. Until next time, everybody, many blessings.